Hello, this is Kia. Welcome to another edition of Kia Talks. I just want to thank everybody for coming. Today's topic is men are not perfect. Men aren't perfect. What does that mean exactly? That means that the man you marry is not going to be perfect. That means after that whole list you made about he's got to be 6'5", he got to be making $160,000. That means he got to be gentle. He's going to be sweet. Has to want 2 to 4 kids. He's got to love his mama. He's got to be driving that car. And he's got to live in this city. He's got to be this or that. You meet him. You get married to him. He's still not going to be perfect. That's what I'm talking about. Because no man is perfect. None. And if you've had a dad, you know this. Because your dad wasn't perfect. He was just a man. He was a lovely person. He loved you, the children. He loved his wife. He loved your mother. But he still wasn't perfect. Now, Kia, grew up with a dad and 4 brothers. So I grew up in a male-dominated house. So I know that men aren't perfect. I know my daddy wasn't perfect, and I know my brothers are perfect. But I also know that they don't have to be. They aren't perfect, and they're still wonderful. My daddy wasn't perfect. He was still a great dad. My brothers aren't perfect. They're still great men. Some of the greatest men I've ever known. But they're not going to be everything that a woman wants them to be. Because God didn't make a man to be perfect. Just like he didn't make women to be perfect. If we women are real with ourselves, we're not perfect in any way. Like, we got plenty of faults, plenty of things we need to work on. You know, a man's going to marry us. Yes, we the prize, but we're not perfect in every way. And that man's not going to be perfect either. You can't build a man. He's not a Build-A-Bear. You're not going to be able to build a man and he'd be the perfect little robot husband for the rest of your life. That's not going to happen. It's not the reality of who men are. They weren't better back in the day and they're worse today. They've never been perfect. They've always been just what men are. You know what I'm saying? Like, men have never been perfect ever since the beginning of time, since the beginning of man. You know what I'm saying? And your man now is not going to be perfect either. And you don't leave him because he's not perfect. He's just a man. Some of you women will marry a man and he'll be the perfect provider, right? But maybe he makes a lot of money, right? Makes tons of money, perfect provider. But he might be a little verbally abusive. Some women will marry a man. He'll be the most handsome guy in the world. He's the best lover you've ever had. But the nigga can't provide nothing. He can barely get enough money for the cable bill every month. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get one thing, you might not get another. You know, he might be the sweetest guy in the world, the most loving man, the greatest guy in the world, but he might not make $100,000. But he's a great man. He's a great family man. He loves you. But he might just make, $70,000 a year. So do you leave him because he's not perfect in one area, but he's perfect in all the other areas that you require? The answer is no. I don't think you do, because I don't think we'd be with any man if that was the case. Because, like I said, men are not going to be perfect. This is part of my relationship series. Again, I'm just talking about dating and relationships and marriage. Just things I think women need to understand and consider when dating and when dealing with men and with, being in relationships. So men aren't perfect. It's for women to calm down, because we as women were all about, I ain't finna put up with that. I would never do that. That could never be me. Girl, if he did that, I would be gone. But the truth is, your man ain't gonna be perfect neither. And guess whose business that's gonna be? Nobody's. It's between you and your husband, his weaknesses, his indeficiencies, the things he's weak in. That ain't nobody's business but you and your man's. You don't tell him, you don't broadcast his weakness, and you don't make it a big deal, because that's between you and your man. And relationship is between two people. You, that man, and God, right? Your relationship is not everybody else's business. What goes on in your relationship is not for everybody else to have an input in. Your man is not going to be perfect. I'm telling you already. So you'll know when you get in that perfect marriage, you have that perfect wedding, your perfect dress, the perfect fairy tale, everything. And you get in there in a year and you realize, oh, he does this. He's like this. I can't believe he's like that. That's going to happen. He's not going to be everything you want him to be. And I think this is for every woman, because women have very unrealistic expectations of men. He's not going to be 100% everything you want him to be. And no, that does not mean you leave him. I do believe that marriage is ordained. I do believe that God brings two people together, and it's for something greater than what you understand and greater than what you want. So no, I don't believe you should leave your husband for the small thing that he's not good at, his weakness, because I believe that marriage is bigger than y'all. I think it's God's business. I think you try to stay because the begats is God's business, baby. Him bringing you together and creating the family and the things he wants you to create is bigger than what you can comprehend. It's God's business, and you have no business interrupting God's business for whatever minuscule thing you think it's, the reason. So no, stay in a relationship. It ain't going to be perfect. I mean, he's not going to be perfect. The relationship is still going to be perfect, but he is not going to be perfect in every area. And you should not get an attitude for the little thing or the little things about him that you don't like. He's a person. There'll be plenty of things you don't like about your husband or your spouse or your boyfriend. That does not constitute a change. You need to completely break off the relationship. There's plenty of things your husband or your won't like about you. That doesn't mean he should break it off with you. If the bigger things and more important things about life and family or y'all agree with, or y'all are compatible. You don't break up for small things that you don't like about the person. But I want to say that because, like I said, I grew up in a male-dominated home. And so I know men aren't perfect, but I also know that that's okay. I also know men being perfect is not a requirement to be in a relationship. And it shouldn't be a requirement for a man to be in your life, Your dad didn't have to be perfect. He was never perfect, and he will never be perfect. Your brothers are not perfect. Your sons won't be perfect. You don't have to disown men just because they're not perfect, because you ain't perfect neither. And your mother wasn't perfect either. You ain't perfect. Your daughter ain't going to be perfect. Your girlfriends ain't perfect, So let's not disown men for their imperfections. Just know up front that they aren't going to be. That doesn't mean that you stop loving them because of that. Okay. I guess that's all I have to say today. Thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe to this channel. I'll come back. I'm coming back at you. Let's keep it going. Love you. Bye.